I have figured out Kuzan's plan. He intends to take out the most dangerous pirate, Blackbeard, by teaming up with the Redhair Pirates. That would make him a legendary hero, like Garp. He would overshadow Akainu. Through Shanks, he could also reconnect with Saul. Chapter 1081 convinced many that Kuzan is a genuine Blackbeard pirate. Of course he is not. Oda makes it seem like that, so that the eventual betrayal will be exciting. Kuzan went from hunting pirates to helping them. He even chose the most destructive one to follow. On Marineford, Blackbeard tried to sink the HQ. Even if the former admiral disagrees with Sakazuki's leadership, I don't think he wants the navy destroyed. He wanted to lead it not so long ago. Now he acts like he doesn't want to lead anything. He could have formed his own crew. Instead he became a subordinate. And Teach is as much a civilian killer as Sakazuki. It is difficult to overstate how out of character Kuzan's behavior is. Yet we know that his personality didn't change. He told Smoker that he was still himself. He asked the White Hunter to warn Sakazuki. Even if he has no contact with them anymore, he is still somewhat rooting for the navy, which is not reconcilable with truly supporting Blackbeard. He must have a secret agenda. He started questioning the navy during the buster call on Ohara. He had been selected to lead the attack alongside 4 other Vice Admirals, including Sakazuki and Saul. It was Sakazuki's killing of civilians that made Aokiji deplore absolute justice. Even before that happened, Saul had already quit the navy. He had interrogated Robin's mother and couldn't accept the coming slaughter of the scholars. He still found himself on Ohara, so Aokiji had to get rid of him. Recently he called the giant his dear friend. We also just found out that Aokiji used a non-fatal attack. Saul is likely on Elbaf now, which is the territory of the Redhair Pirates. He must have developed a relationship with that crew. Saul couldn't become a pirate because he is presumed dead. He had to keep the belief alive that he wasn't alive anymore. Otherwise, the government would have hunted him down. As a proper Redhair pirate, he would have been spotted sailing on the Red Force, especially due to his gigantic size. But I'm sure that he is nevertheless affiliated with the Redhair Pirates and will fight on their side when Blackbeard invades the country of the giants. Blackbeard has a giant on his crew, the perfect opponent for Saul. When Shanks challenged Teach at Marineford, Redhair officers were paired with Blackbeard pirates. Only Sanjuan Wolf didn't get assigned an opponent. This was because Wolf was never meant to fight a proper Redhair pirate. He was meant to fight Saul. We have seen neither properly fight, but we know that both are strong. Saul has to be because he was a Vice Admiral, and Wolf because he was incarcerated in level 6 of Impel Down. Like the other level 6 prisoners, Wolf was erased from history. Saul is falsely believed to be dead, and he preserved books about the erased history of the Void Century. Both bear animal names, Jaguar and Wolf. Both are around 100 years old, yet still have milk teeth. Both are giants not from Elbaf. Saul badmouthed the Elbafian giants in the past. He called them barbaric in Robin's flashback. Those comments might still haunt him after the alleged barbarians protected him for 20 years. The fight against the gigantic Titanic captain will remind him of how wrong he was. Wolf, a giant from West Blue, will behave more barbarically than any giant Saul ever encountered on Elbaf. Not just the most barbaric, he will also be the tallest, 10 times as big as Saul. During the buster call, Saul lifted a navy ship around Wolf's size. He will repeat that feat by lifting Wolf himself. In Ohara he lifted a great battleship. In Elbaf he will lift the great battleship Sanjuan Wolf. That won't save him from defeat though. The Blackbeard pirates will be stopped by the Straw Hats, not by Shanks and his allies. Saul's inevitable loss will set up Wolf's Straw Hat fight. The little girl that Saul protected at Ohara will avenge him. I made a video on why Robin will fight Wolf, even before I made the Saul connection. Saul's exact age is 127. Wolf is 99 years old. The difference is 28. The age at which Robin was introduced, joined the Straw Hats, and thus found friends that protect her, just as Saul had hoped. After his loss to Akainu, Aokiji finally did what Saul already had done 20 years ago. He left the navy. He might copy Saul's next step too, which was associating with Shanks. That would allow the two friends to reunite. I believe Kuzan will switch sides when the Blackbeard pirates come to Elbaf to attack the Redhair Pirates. At Marineford, Aokiji witnessed Blackbeard using a second devil fruit and attempting to destroy the Navy island with it. He must have realized that Teach would pose the greatest threat to stability and order eventually. He also saw who the greatest threat to Teach was. Not a marine but another pirate. Shanks challenged Blackbeard and Blackbeard ran. Teach said that it wasn't time for their clash, yet when it is time, Kuzan will switch sides and fight with Shanks. At Marineford, Shanks saved Kobe from Akainu, which must have made Aokiji admire Redhair. He holds the boy captive right now to keep his cover, but make no mistake, he sees himself in him. He pointed out their connection. He and Kobe were both Garp's students. Both also abhor absolute justice. Akainu almost murdered Kobe because he objected to the continuation of the fighting at Marineford after Ace and Whitebeard had died. Akainu's senseless killing is why Aokiji sought to deny him the Navy leadership. Kuzan is right now fighting Garp, yet he still looks up to his former mentor, as paradoxically as that sounds. That is the reason for him posing as a Blackbeard pirate. His plan is to become the new Garp. The actual one told him to let Kobe go and to get back in uniform. Kuzan won't do it. He is not following Garp's words, he is following his example. In Chapter 0, Aokiji expressed admiration for Garp because he always declined to become an admiral. Now Kuzan has abandoned the position that Garp never took. Garp doesn't like asking HQ for permission and often doesn't do things by the book. Kuzan is now a free agent and can do whatever he wants. Due to his loss to Akainu, he must feel humiliated and he must also fear that absolute justice is taking over the minds of Marines. As a subordinate of Sakazuki and the Celestial Dragons, he couldn't have opposed the spread of that ideology. As a legendary hero like Garp, he could win the heart and soul of the Navy without being the Fleet Admiral. Garp never held that position, he was only a Vice Admiral, yet he's arguably seen as a greater Marine than Sengoku. When he punched down Mako, it gave an unprecedented morale boost to the Marines. If Aokiji could follow in his mentor's footsteps, he could trump Sakazuki and thus make up for his loss at Punk Hazard. Garp became the legendary hero by helping to bring Rocks down. The modern Rocks is Blackbeard. If Aokiji takes him out while Akainu sits in his office, then Akainu's win would turn out to be a Pyrrhic victory. Without Navy ships and personnel, Kuzan would have done more against piracy than the sitting Fleet Admiral, who has the whole organization at his command. It would have been foolish to attack Teach when they met in the bar. He froze some Titanic captains, but the most dangerous of them, Shiryu, was still lurking around somewhere. Even without the crew, Teach would be a bad matchup for him, because Kuzan relies so much on his devil fruit. He plans to play a major role in defeating Teach, but he won't attempt it alone. Garp gets all the credit for the defeat of Zabek, but he didn't do it alone. He teamed up with Roger. To become the modern Garp, Kuzan has to find the modern Roger to ally himself with. Kuzan erroneously but understandably considers Shanks to be that person. Just like Aokiji was a protege of Garp, Redhair was a protege of Roger. The two students could try to repeat what their mentors did on God Valley, where Shanks was found as a baby. We just learned that Buggy expected Shanks to become the next pirate king. Shanks got the straw hat from Roger and even inherited his fighting style. He one-shotted Kid by using the late Pirate King's signature move, Divine Departure. Despite all this, we the readers know that Luffy is the next Roger, not Shanks. Redhair will lose to Teach. That means Kuzan will fail as well. He won't become the new Garp. Smoker will. He is to Luffy what Garp was to Roger, the main pursuer. His right hand, Tashigi, fights with the katana like Bogart. He has a friendly relationship with female colleague Hina, who resembles Tsuru in her sternness. Luffy and Smoker will take on Teach together after he triumphs over the Redhair Pirates and their allies. The man that will take down Kuzan is Kid. His story isn't done yet. He was made a conqueror for a reason. Shanks destroyed Kid and his ship. He also took all poneglyphs. He should have taken Kid's life also while he was at it. Only that would have prevented the disaster that is about to strike. Kid's first defeat to the Redhair Pirates didn't deter him from trying again. He won't take a second defeat any differently. Third time's a charm. Kid must be really bitter now, ready to make a pact with the devil, if that means revenge. He will ally himself with Blackbeard to bring Shanks down. This will set him up against Kuzan. In his fight against Akainu, Kuzan lost a leg. Pizarro wanted to know how much he had injured the Fleet Admiral in return, whether he had ripped off Akainu's arm. He didn't, but he will fight against someone who lost an arm in battle next. When Kid tried to take down Redhair for the first time, Beckman took his arm. Kid and Kuzan both used their devil fruit to compensate. Kid made himself a replacement out of metal. Kuzan used ice to make himself a new leg. Killer will defeat Rockstar. In Wano he fought Hawkins, a supernova likely on par with the Flying Six, who nevertheless was only a headliner. Rockstar is not a Redhair officer but has the strength of one. In addition, his name links him to music, and Killer is the first mate of a punk-themed crew.